Hi, my name is Varun, and I'm a finalist from the DECA Knowledge Matters Digital Presentation Challenge. And I'm here today to present some of the different forms of ownership and how I'll be using this information that I learned from Knowledge Matters in my own personal business in the future. So let's get started. The first form of ownership we're going to talk about is a sole proprietorship. One thing that needs to be considered when discussing a sole proprietorship is how much money is retained when taking money out of the business's account. When taking money out of a sole proprietorship's business's account, you'd only be taxed at your own personal tax rate, and you'd retain a larger amount of money than you would if it were to be a partnership or a corporation. The next thing that needs to be considered are how you'd fund the company. Um, you'd likely have to take out a bank loan. You could use your own personal savings, but you might not have enough savings and you'd still result in having to take a bank loan out, which can be very risky because if the business were to go under, then you'd be stuck paying back this very high interest bank loan. Finally, scaling. With a sole proprietorship, you might not be able to get to as large of a scale as you might like it, just because you only have your own personal skills and skill set. Next, for a partnership. So for a partnership, when taking money out of that business's account, not only would you be taxed at your own personal tax rate, but you also have to split the money amongst your partners, depending on how many partners you have. For financing, you could take a bank loan out, but the more likely scenario would be you using a cumulative savings from all of the partners, which would reduce the risk because if the business were to go under, you are not stuck paying a high interest bank loan back. Finally, once again, scaling. With a partnership, you have a broader set of skills coming from all your partners, which means you can really take your company to a much larger scale than you would be able to with a sole proprietorship. Finally, a corporation. With a corporation, when taking money out of that business's account, not only are you taxed at your own personal tax rate, but you're also taxed at the corporation rate, which is around 15%. Financing a corporation would probably be the least risky because you wouldn't be taking money out of your savings and you wouldn't have to take out a bank loan because you could just get investors to invest and take equity of your company, which means if the business were to go under, then you wouldn't be stuck paying back these high interest bank loans and you wouldn't lose any of your savings. Finally, for scaling, you could probably scale a corporation to the largest out of the three forms of business or the three forms of ownership that I presented thus far. However, you have to consider that when you have more individuals and more sets of ideas, it can be a lot more difficult to come up with an efficient solution in a crisis that can really save your business from going under. Finally, I'd like to discuss how I'll be using this information for my own future business plans. So, personally, I would like to open up my own sneaker business one day. Currently, I have my sneaker Instagram account, but I'd like to transition that into a sneaker store. And I just feel like this is the next step for me because I've been interested in the sneaker culture and sneakers for around 7 years now. Through this business, I'd like to provide customers with access to shoes ranging from the highly sought after limited edition ones to the more affordable ones to cater to customers of all kinds of financial backgrounds. Along with this, I'd like my business to make an impact on society because for me, making an impact on society is just as important as making profits. I'd likely do this by donating a percent of my profits to organizations that help purchase clothes and shoes for those in need. Overall, I think the best form of ownership for my company would be a partnership because I think it provides the best balance between the risk of what would occur if my business were to go under, and I would get the broadest set of skills that I can get while balancing this risk. So all this information that I was able to learn through these simulations has given me a better understanding of what my partner and I will need to do in order to create this business in the future. And one day when I do finally open up this business, I believe that these knowledge matter simulations would really have given me the first introduction into these concepts that got me into the position that I will be in at that point. Thank you.